As a trustee, you're not just honoring your loved one's wishes, you are navigating legal and financial obligations here. That can feel overwhelming, especially if you're unfamiliar with Minnesota's trust laws, which I have found most people are. So here's some common challenges that I've found that trustees have when they're going through this process. The first is misinterpreting trust terms. So this is oftentimes legalese. The reason it's legalese is because if there's a dispute or there's some sort of problem, we're talking to the court here. This is something that's directed to an adverse party if something goes wrong. And because of that, we know what these terms mean. So we use them, and it does come off as being a little opaque sometimes as far as how they read. At our office, we try very hard to speak in plain language, but in these documents, you're always going to have a little bit of this. So what we want to do is make sure that these rules and these terms are being followed very carefully, and we take care of that in our office with our clients. The next error is going to be, that I see anyway, is going to be in tax filings. Trust administration requires income and estate taxes. They're complex, there can be mistakes, and our role here is that we assist with the tax filings and just ensure that these deadlines are hit. Because if you miss a tax deadline in life, I'm sure you've heard what happens there. You could be audited, there could be interest and penalties, and we just want to make sure we're keeping that flowing the way it should. The next thing we see is missing deadlines, not for tax purposes, but just for filing deadlines. For example, if you have a will document, you have to, and you're going through probate, you have to publish in a paper or financial magazine that's local and approved by the county, a notice, an announcement that this person has passed away, and that if you're a creditor, here's how to get a hold of the attorney or how to get a hold of the personal representative. And if you don't do that, that can cause a lot of problems. There's a statute of limitations that will tick, but only if this has been done. Otherwise, you could be on the hook for these debts for a very, very long time. So you got to make sure you hit that. For example, we help clients and our trustees and our executors to make sure they're hitting all of these and checking all the boxes. Managing beneficiary expectations is probably one of the biggest things that you'll need to do. When someone passes away and there's money, there are people who, as hard as it is to lose someone, as sad as they may be, they still know that there's assets coming their way. And because of that, they are anxious about it, even in times of, and I don't blame them at all. We've all got our financial goals or financial stressors. And sometimes getting a payout like this can help with the pain a little bit. It relieves some stress in someone's life, and they are understandably going to be asking you where the money is. When it comes to probate, going through the probate court with a will, for example, they may not get their distribution for a year, and that can be very challenging for them. So making sure that that's communicated up front is going to be a very important aspect of your job as a trustee or an executor. If we're using a trust, a revocable trust, it oftentimes happens much faster, but we still have to get the house cleaned out. We still have to make sure that things are listed properly. We have to make sure we're following the book here. So managing those beneficiary expectations is a huge deal. Next, personal liability for you. Did you know that if you are the executor or personal representative of an estate, or as a trustee, you're a fiduciary? Fiduciaries are personally on the hook if they do something untoward, if they do something wrong and it results in the loss of someone else. That can be mitigated by steps that you take to try to prevent that. And we do our best to make sure you're doing that. What are the things that need to be done to make sure you are protected? And working with an attorney on this process will increase the likelihood substantially that you're doing everything you need to do, that you're keeping the beneficiaries at the forefront, that you're meeting your deadlines, that you're not missing taxes, that you're not missing creditors who are going to come after these people later. As an example, if I am managing an estate as of a parent or something that's passed away for me, and I distribute all the money out of the estate, and then I didn't wait for the creditor claims to come in, so now suddenly the credit cards and the medical bills are coming in, I have to go back to those beneficiaries and get the money. If they've already spent it and it's gone, I'm on the hook because I made the mistake. So be very careful of that. There's also insurance policies that can, again, mitigate some of these risks as well. At Stone Arch Law Office in Minneapolis, we work with families all over Minnesota on these exact problems. We help executors and trustees to navigate this process in a way that's accessible, understandable, as safe as it can be for folks who are going to take on this job. We can really help with these risks and just making sure everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. You can book a call with us anytime at stonearchlaw.com or call our office directly at 612-444-5555.